Yes,
you would have to put down the volume of your phone so it doesn't cross, or whichever, just choose one to have the volume up and the other one to have the volume down.
Okay. So Instagram family, we are going live also on YouTube, and a quick presentation or introduction to these live conversations. This is an inspiration we got a few months ago, in which we wanted to share with our alumni and with these beautiful souls that we have been knowing through this training. Because we feel like they have so much to share. You know, we have been going live in the training with these ceremonies, connecting from Mexico to Europe. And we have been knowing these beautiful hearts. And when they have been sharing what they do, how do they express, how they share in ceremony, it has been so inspiring to us. So we said, like, we should share this with our community and start to link these countries and to travel across the ocean and just, you know, connect all this magic. So here we are now in our first live conversation with Sara, and we are so happy to be here with you, Sara. Would you like to say something, to present yourself?
I'm very happy to be here, number one, especially when it's in regards to movement and then that connection between obviously ceremony. My name is Sara Fakih, well, Sara_Fakih, which is actually, it comes from Lebanon originally. I am, what am I? I'm a yoga teacher. I'm actually a qualified PT. I'm a movement coach. I work with a lot of sound as well, which I actually normally have in my little home studio, but it's not here today. I work in ceremony. I did the cacao facilitation training also with Michelle and Carlos, which was absolutely amazing. I work with movement and dance a lot, and that lineage kind of comes more from quite primal movement, and a lot of actually comes from the dancehall background, which is actually quite Jamaican. So it's got quite kind of, I always say that there's a link to like the Jamaican and kind of African roots as well. What else? Yeah, I do lots of trainings and retreats as well. I'm a trainer for something called Booty Movement. And yeah, I also teach a lot for someone called Yoga Fit, and we go to Ibiza twice a year. And I'm based in Northwest London.
Thank you, Sara. Beautiful. So you actually have been inspiring me a lot. I love to see you on Instagram, this movement about booty and your movements, and it's so much sensuality, which I also resonate a lot with. So we have some questions for you, like, well, not for you, actually for everyone here, for you, for us, for our minds, for our hearts and consciousness. And also we would like to invite our YouTube and Instagram community, if you also have something to share about what we are saying, if you resonate with, or if you maybe differ like totally from what we are saying, please share in the comments also what you are feeling, so we make this conversation more expansive and more dynamic. And also, if whatever we are saying is of inspiration or contribution to your path, well, please also let us know so we can all start to connect and resonate. So Sara, can you share with us what has been your ceremonial experience? Like not only cacao, but like ceremony, you know, receiving and giving it also.
So one quick thing, technical thing before we go on. Can we lower the volume of the device you're in Zoom, because it sounds double on Instagram. It has like a double sound, so we need to lower it so it doesn't like repeat your voice plus the voice on the computer.
Okay, hang on.
And that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Preferences. You're asking me now to do something that I don't, hang on, go to audio setting. My microphone volume.
Microphone volume?
No, I think that as long as you decrease the volume on your computer or your device.
What about now?
I think that's good, yeah, because it sounds double when she speaks, and it sounds where it comes out.
Shall I take out my microphone?
Should she take out her microphone?
No, it's good. It's good.
You sure? Yeah. Okay, is that all right? Because I just put your volume down a little bit.
I'll check.
Yeah, we'll check.
Okay. Tell me if I need to put it down a little bit more, and then I will.
Yeah.
You know, the tech stuff for me, I'm like.
Okay. Flowing with technology always.
Okay, there we go. Yolanta said it's better. Oh, hi, Morgana as well. Oh, lovely. Okay.
Okay, so let's share. What has been your ceremonial experience?
So for me, ceremony reminds me that everything is with intention. Everything that we do is with intention. And I think when you then start to work in ceremony, you're really honing in on what your intention is. I think on a much deeper level. Then also with that ceremony, when you're working with people or whether you're working with yourself, that intention, I feel, can manifest a lot quicker. Ceremony also for me, I feel as well, it's a deeper connection, again, to your intention, to yourself, and also to your community. That's how I feel when you work in ceremony. It's always about the intention. Yeah. So
would you say maybe that in our day-to-day lives, we could be living like in a ceremonial consciousness or space, like if we just establish an intention throughout our day?
I think yes, because with ceremony, when I think of the word ceremony, I always think of ceremony being with people, but you can have ceremony with yourself, you know. So every day, again, if you're doing something with intention as like a small ritual, you could make it ceremonial for yourself. But then I think the way that I see ceremony is usually with other people and bringing in the energy of other people in ceremony and allowing that connection to again ripple out and manifest in such a beautiful way. Because again, as you know, as we start to work and heal and go into the deeper levels of ourselves through shadow work, through all of it, it then ripples out to our closest energetic field. So that then ripples out and out and out. So yeah, I think when I say ceremony, I think of two parts: with people, and then you can also work in ceremony even with yourself.
Yeah, and I love how you say this, because even if we think we are doing ceremony only to ourselves, this rippling effect is happening. So we think it's like an individual ceremony, but in the backstage, it's always kind of a group ceremony, you know, like with our family, so it can be really, really expensive.
Oh, hugely. Expansive art.
Like expansive art. Yeah, actually that's how we got the name, of course, because we were feeling this, like every ceremony, every time we got into this ceremonial state, we felt so expansive. Like it's like one of the first qualities like we get to experience when we enter in this ceremonial state, right?
Yeah, and that expansion, well, you're raising the vibration, you know, you're raising the consciousness, and then that's expanding out, and as I said, and then that ripples out without, you know, sometimes you can see effects of even when you work in ceremony or start to work in your own field, and you can see the effects of even people around you, and you're like, oh, a couple of shifts have happened without, you know, any conversation with them, just by doing, again, ritual and ceremony yourself, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I love that kind of effect. Sometimes for me, it's like, am I just seeing like through different eyes? And I think that something changed outside, but actually it's like my perception of the exterior. And at the same time, this rippling effect is happening. And maybe even the other person isn't noticing consciously, but it is happening because I am sensing it and I am feeling it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, everything, when we think about that, literally everything is energy and everything's a vibration. When you work with that intention in ceremony, of course, it is always going to ripple out, 100%.
Yeah, nice. So can you share, how has this training, Expansive Art, inspired you to integrate and expand movement in your ceremonial life? Because movement was already part of you long before you entered this training. But have you noticed like an expansion or an integration once you took the training?
It's funny because it was only, even when you just asked me that question, that there's been such expansion. And when we did that cacao facilitation, it was at such a pivotal moment in my life that I was hugely going through another dark night of the soul. It was just at the right time, and I wasn't feeling myself. I felt super blocked in my throat. I felt even blocked, even sharing my own movement, which I know is my absolute medicine. But since then, there has been so many shifts, and it's actually brought me so much more self-belief in my authentic creation and actual medicine that I find that is my own medicine, but of course we share that out into the world. And it's given me kind of real, I think I'll go back, real self-belief in the movement that moves through me. And obviously this has come from, you know, we start from somewhere, and that journey is beautiful. We have no idea how it's going to unfold. Absolutely no idea, you know, and then it unfolds in the most, sometimes like the craziest way. And it's allowed me to then bring this full trust in, I loved to dance. I loved to dance from young. And I found that creative arts is beautiful through dance. But I think what's happened when you train as a dancer, or you start to do that whole kind of being in that dance world, it can really limit you because there's so much competition. It takes out the creativity. It takes out, you know, it's more from a performance, which is beautiful. But I think when you're young, that it can really dampen you. I find that some people really grow, or some people literally feel like they've been put into a box and there's too much comparison, and there's not, you know, you have to like kind of dance a certain way in certain styles, and maybe they're not the ones for you. So I think through my journey and through, I always had this deep resonance to kind of, again, they're very similar beat, where like whether it would be kind of like African Afro or reggaeton, which has got that kind of real beat, or dancehall. There was something from when I literally was just walking, there was something in me. And I think what happened is I found that learned it, went out, learned, did so many workshops, travels, did all of that, and kind of went back into dancing in studios again, which is great. You know, it was beautiful. I loved it. Dance was, it liberates you. It makes you feel amazing, but it still felt, you know, learning choreographies, which are amazing because it's great for your motor skills, but it just felt, it felt like there's something really missing. Like, and that's since kind of, well, again, the pandemic, and when I had that rule, was going through that dark night of the soul. It's slowly starting to grow from the practice that I've kind of created a practice, and I've kind of created a way of teaching and how I want to teach, and what I feel that really moves through me. And that is really now I work with basic dancehall steps, because actually, and a lot of people don't know this, in Jamaican culture they have steps that they had names for, because they used to dance on the streets as example, and each step has an expression, and it's, you know, we need to express ourselves, right? And through dance, it's the most beautiful way to express yourself. I think if you're angry, dance. Like, if you're sad, dance. Don't just dance when you're happy. Like, the most beautiful moments are when you're trying to channel an emotion, let it go through dance. And I think I knew that a lot of their dance came from expression, but I didn't really pinpoint. I thought they're onto something. They don't even realize that they were using this dance as such a spiritual way. And then a reminder to us, we are this beautiful vessel that connects earth to sky. So when you're dancing, this is for me again, you are this beautiful vessel of connecting the two, and you can use movement and free movement, but also you can use this movement to really find it, like, connect, but also, like I said, massively channeling through your emotions, however you're feeling, whatever needs to come up. And I then found that teaching some of these steps, and you can see that some of them are a little bit more angry, some of them are a lot more joyful and freeing and loving, that I was like, right, okay. But some of the movement, again, is all about moving the whole body. And as we know, the spine, you know, is like our energetic highway. We go into, like, you know, through so many traditions, from, you know, shamanic to yogic texts, like that we know that the spine is, again, that connection, root to crown, but also so many systems. And when you start to move the body in that way, you're freeing all the energy. But what I love, again, what I really found that I connected with dancehall, and how that I found now as I teach, it's very grounding. And this, again, reminds me of when we work in ceremony through more kind of shamanic culture, as we connect, we need to connect to the earth so much more. We are living this human experience, but by connecting to the earth, for me, again, this is where we start to work again with the light and the dark, our shadow, you know, and for me, when we're moving in this way, like, I've probably had the most emotional experiences, and even like profound visions and everything, from moving in this way and through dance. So it's been a journey, but I also feel like what's been moving through me recently, it's this real trust and belief that this movement is so healing. And it's, again, very, when you want to connect to energy, it's really root, it's really sacred, but again, it's also kind of manipura as well, as like solar plexus stuff. And when you work with cacao, again, that's for me the connection between our lower and our higher, for me. So yeah, I kind of really went off on a tangent as usual there.
I loved it.
I can get lost now, I have to pull myself back.
You were dancing with your words. We were like, oh, going there and then here.
Yeah.
Undulating through different channels. Yeah, I love that. I resonate with a lot of things you said. Like, for one thing, when I was studying also contemporary dance professionally, it was such beautiful experience. You know, this choreography and these technical movement ways, ballet and jazz, you know. But at the same time, while I was connecting with different plant medicines, my spirit and my heart was like asking me really loud, like, hey, we need something else. Like, this technique is really beautiful, but how can you connect it with your heart? How can you connect it with your emotions? Because I was seeing this, like, it was really interesting to see people that were ready to graduate from that school and the people that were entering, which was where I was. And I saw, like, from first grade, the movements were really raw, like really authentic, like there was really the voice of that person in the movement. And then I started to see people that were graduating, and my perception at that time were like, they already were like, how do you say, like having the same movements, like all this rawness was gone. And they were like, they have really good and beautiful technique. But this authentic voice, for me, it was almost gone. And they were doing like the same movement, the same choreography, the same essence that was the essence of the teachers. So for me, it was like really intense to see that. And I got out of that school because it was like, I got scared. Like, no, my voice is gonna die. Like, I need to keep myself raw. I need to keep myself like with this instinct. And I went totally to the other side, not to the other side, but like to explore more plant medicine and to connect with the movement through the states that plants got me.
Yeah.
So also what you were sharing about how cacao, it's like starting to awaken our heart, and how our heart is the connection through the divine and the earth. So having this consciousness awakened that we are this channel, this vessel, how can we connect to the heart, to the intention, to the heart, and our movement also, when it is expressing through the heart, it is totally different, right? Because we are not maybe judging our movement from this technical space, maybe like, oh, my foot is this way, or my finger is this way, which was how I learned in school. But it's like, hey, I need to shake this because I feel so heavy, or I need to pull out my tongue because I need to take out some heat. And maybe outside it's not looking beautiful or like gracefully, but how about in the inside? It's like moving really deep stuff.
It's something, I love what you said there, because that's something as well that I feel, I don't know whether I empathize with coming from dance, and then I can also see how stuck people are in their heads. And even down when you try to teach people to free dance and dance from here without any judgment, that's when again I started to realize that's so hard for so many people. It's so hard to, because one thing I always say when I lead people into free dance is, the weirder you get, the more liberating you will feel. Like, the weirder you move, like do things that are weird, like the weirdest. And it's so hard for people to do that, to release judgment from their mind, to move in the most embodied way, to start to connect, which is what I say, to the actual wisdom of your body and how it wants to move. And using, what I love as well, that is something that you said, is like sticking out your tongue. And I always envision like Kali, like, you know, the goddess Kali of like, ha, like really like, you just need, or shaking in the middle because you feel like something's stuck, you know. And this for me is, again, when I lead back to where I was talking about dancehall, is I started to think, use these movements as codes, because some people, the body remembers movement, right? The mind doesn't. It's the body remembers the movement. And, you know, when I sometimes, what my intention was, is to give people like these, like, again, I feel like they're codes, like these embodied little codes, which are movements that the body starts to remember. And then I take them on that journey of repetitive movements that I'm teaching them, because like, I find, again, people get so stuck. Then by that point, they're already in a place of dropping into their body, perhaps a way more deeper than they would have if I just whacked on a track and said, now dance, and free dance, you know. It's so, I'm found that, you know, straight up into their head, straight into judgment, and then they freeze. Because again, I think also a lot of this is trusting and nervous system stuff, because some people have actual triggers and traumas through dance, and people judging them and looking at them. So I think it is beautiful. And then when you use ceremony and cacao in that way, I think it helps to also have more trust here when you're leading them in that way. And then once you kind of like, what, basically once I've given them, as I like to say, these embodied codes that their body is remembering, I whack on a track and they are like, it's like, you know, when you send them off and it's like, and they're flying, you know.
And you're like, oh, sense. That is a weird movement.
But yeah, that liberation of feeling joy, and again, connecting to connecting to their soul and connecting to spirit, of finding this, I think this is all we want, is for people to connect, to understand there's so much more than just the physical, you know. We are so much more than just the physical, and that's how I love to use movement in ceremony. Again, using plants, this opens everything up and removes these judgments and blocks that we always hold here. And it's really interesting when I do take people through dance, because it's like I can see this, oh, they jumped onto their heads, and I feel like I'm then guiding them back, and then, oh, they've jumped up again, and we guide them back. Like, that's, I mean, I just love actually witnessing that and seeing people starting to let go more and more, and also using the breath while you're doing it, which is so important. Just when you just said about, you know, sticking out your tongue, but I try to get people to breathe so much, because that's the only way that energy is going to start flowing through you. And you know, as we know, trauma is held in the body. I find dancing is probably one of a huge release for me.
Yeah, I love that, Sara. It's like sometimes like talking to myself, how you are working with movement, how it is so exquisite to be witness of other bodies letting go of all these expectations about their own bodies, about their own movement, all these repressions, you know. When we are the observer, it's sometimes so clearly to see where that trauma in the body is showing up. Yeah. How I love to witness this sensation of like the body, it's starting to want to move, maybe just like a finger, maybe just like a shoulder. And then it's like really clear that the mind, it's sometimes like, no, like something is like some chains sometimes I can perceive, or like metal, you know, an armor, something that is like is stressing the body, giving tension to the body, giving rigidness to the body. But when you like touch the language of the body, for me, always the body is like, please, I want to move, I want to express, I want to free myself, I want to, you know, and the body is like always willing to, even if it feels tired, which I also have found is tiredness can come also from the mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Because sometimes the body's like, yeah, I'm tired, but I can dance to my feeling of being tired. And I can still be moving.
Yeah.
You know, when I feel tired. So it's also the mind telling us like, no, stop it. You're tired. No, stop it. You look ridiculous. No, stop it. What are other people gonna think about you? So again, if we did these practices only with our bodies, it is really powerful. And when we add a plant medicine like cacao that is connecting us to the heart, like rapé, which we also love so much, because rapé, this medicine that comes from tobacco plant, what we have found, it's like it cleanses in like seconds, in minutes, all this obsessive movement of the mind, all these thoughts that are actually blocking this divine channel, you know, like divinity, I see it like this, like divinity wants to enter, but right here it gets stuck, like in the second chakra, in the second vortex that divinity wants to enter, because all these judgments, so intense judgments are flowing, so it cannot pass through. But when we give rapé, it's like it opens up, and then okay, divinity enters, and then it's like cacao, like awakening the heart, and then it's like we are like, hey, bodies, move, express. So it is difficult now in these spaces, in these states, for the bodies to stay rigid. It actually, for me, in my experience, it actually takes a lot of willpower to stay rigid in these states, because it's organically, it's like the body is remembering what its nature is.
100%. I think with me, I had so much self-judgment as well when I used to dance when I was a lot younger, but that was due to some real, you know, again, we're all different, but I feel a lot of people, a lot of, you know, kids maybe weren't seen, weren't heard, weren't allowed to express, and as we know, that puts these blocks, and then we have these silly beliefs of so much self-judgment, and then so much self-judgment through dance. And what I found is, not dancing in this rigid, like the way that I should, you get kind of shamed, and that I found that came up a lot when I started dancing again. I started to get so self-judgment and, you know, judging of myself, how I looked. And that again is another way I think that I can really, you know, empathize through this movement of finding that liberation. And I love how you said, because again, it does feel like it gets stuck, like bringing that divinity in. It's, yeah, I found that so beautiful, like really, because we get really stuck in our kind of, you know, frontal lobe here, like of really getting really judging, and we're just trying to shift that. I love that actually thinking about rapé is actually beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so
I love it.
Before, I don't know if you want to share some movement practice, but before that, would you like to share if you have found like other aspects in your life that this expansive art training maybe has helped you, inspired you in your ceremonies, in your movement, like, but beyond ceremonies and movement, like other aspects in your life that you have found some contribution, some nutritious, how do you say that? Nutrition, yeah.
The first word that comes to me, the first word that was straight away was boom, is trust, but in myself, like on such a deep level. And I'm still working with it, but like real deep trust. If I even think about where I was when we did the facilitation training, I know I had to go into, I think, any dark night of the soul. You know, they're the most powerful and profound moments. Well, they're not moments, they're a little bit longer than moments, but they I would say trust, real trust. I feel, I don't know what, like the creativity that has been coming out of me, but the trust, shall I say, in my creativity. I think that's the difference, because we can create all the time, but sometimes we create and we don't have that trust and belief in what we're creating. Is like, we hold ourselves back, we get in our own way because there's a lack of trust in ourselves. So trust, like really trusting. And when I say this, I say this with all love, like just not caring at all what anyone thinks. Because yeah, real trust, honestly. And it's kind of like been all of those bits that have been holding me back have just been falling away, and it's just been magical to witness. Actually, I would 100% trust in capital letters.
I love that. Yeah. Actually, I've been working a lot with trust in myself, because I think, I see it in this spiral movement, this spiral process, like you say, like the dark night of the soul is, maybe it's not just one night. Maybe
Definitely
it's just
not.
like, yes. And when we are in there, it feels sometimes like eternity, like, oh, I've been here all my life. I see my mind going there. Like, no, I'm never going out of this. And actually, the only thing I found that takes me out of there, or like roots me in something higher to say, or maybe like more truthful, is trust. And trust, it's very interesting, because I cannot find it on the exterior. I cannot like, hey, give me some trust. Of course, people like sometimes say something nice to us, they say something that we have inspired, and it helps. But trust, we have to like bring it out from our inner selves, and validate ourselves, validate our movement, validate what we are doing. But for me, at least, it's an ongoing and maybe eternal process of trusting myself, trusting my voice, trusting what I do. So I love to hear this, and thank you so much for sharing this, because this is one of our deepest intentions with this training, to inspire trust, because we know that it has to come from an inner state, but we also know that we can inspire that we can maybe like share a path we have learned to find inner trust, or just like being kind of a cheerleader, like, hey, you have an authentic voice, you have something really powerful and beautiful to share to the world. We love to share that this vision that we have, that if every human being can be sharing its authentic voice from this place of trust, it's like that visions make my mind and my body and every cell of my body just jump in joy, in so expansive joy, to feel like every human being could be sharing authenticity. And it's totally like opposite from this state of competition, but actually a state of community, of this ceremony state, of this sharing. And not being competition, but being inspiration, each one of us to each other when we share with from this place of trust, right?
Completely. And with that, actually, to add on that, no one is in competition. We all have such beautiful gifts, even if we have similarities in the things that we share. We don't ever share the same thing. And that's again trusting in that, there's enough of us out there. We don't need to be in competition at all. And that space of community also connects me to ceremony too. That ceremony and community and connection is like very much intertwined.
Yeah. Okay, so we have still a few minutes. Would you like to share with us a practice, a movement?
I can, yeah. I'm just thinking, what about music? Because I don't want to get cut off from the lovely IG.
Yeah, I think. That's a theme.
What I might do, and then, let me think. All right, should I share maybe something through my Spotify, through the computer, or should I play something in the background? I might have to remove this and then maybe just play the music very low. I think that's a good idea.
I don't know, but I think in whatever way we can be shut down if we share music. So I don't know if we can do it just like with our inner music, with the music of our breath. Maybe.
I'll tell you what, I'll like just do a couple of steps of things that I feel that help people to get into their body and that movement into the spine, and like a real basic movement, which is literally stepping from side to side, that helps and is a start of kind of some of the things that I do in my classes.
Perfect.
Me with no music. Do you know what? I need someone playing in the background, the drums. I recently I did the training, one of the beauty trainings, and then even just over the weekend I was on retreat teaching a dance class, and I've had someone on the djembe drums the whole time, and I'm like, oh my god, I need a personal drummer. So just come with me wherever I go.
That's why I'm with Mundala, live drums, live flute, live guitar.
Oh my god!
For a dancer,
drummer.
like, yes, please.
So, I mean, IG, you probably can't see me as much, but one of the main things I always get people to do, because again, when I say that connection between earth and sky, we are that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful vessel. So one of the main things that I start off, and this is also, it reminded me of what you said a minute, Michelle, is, the mind will usually tell you that you're tired, but I always say, well, dance like you can't be bothered then, because actually when you dance like you can't be bothered, like it just allows you to just like relax even more. So I think a lot of people don't understand that, and you just like dance like you can't be bothered. So the first thing is, I'll show you side to side, is slight bend in the knees, and I kind of like sit back a little bit, and then I say, just feel like getting really rooted, really grounded. I get people to close their eyes. I ask them to take a few breaths and just relax the jaw, because as we know, the jaw holds on to so much. Relax the shoulders and just come into your breath and stay with your breath. And then usually I start playing some music, and then literally all I will get you to do, I sometimes start with some hip isolations. I'm not going to do these now, but what I'll do is I'll start to get you to circle into the hips, but using the thighs, and just circle one way. It's not even how it looks, and just start to circle just the hips, and just going to release any tension around the lower back. And for men and women, we all have a womb space. It's also kind of connecting to this area of actually creativity. And then just start to circle it the other way. Just noticing how it feels. There's always one way that feels a lot more comfortable than the other. But it's good for us to work right side, left side, because of the body and also the brain. Yeah, and then I'll usually get people to go down into their hands onto their knees, right? And I try to not say stick your butt out, tuck. And then what I do is I do this rounds, and then kind of neutral, and then round, and then neutral. And then as you go past neutral, you can arch into the back a little bit. And this movement starts to kind of really awaken the spine as I'm rounding through and left. And then what usually get people to do is start to speed them up a little bit more as you're really rounding through, and it can take your breath away. And I always remind people, keep breathing, and then I speed them a little bit up. And as I do these, I keep moving, and then I then stay. I'm just imagine there's the beat here. Yeah, and then I go step and step. So again, it will like step, and you start to move the spine. You've got to keep your core engaged, and then keep doing all of these movements. And then I hold you still, and then we kind of do this, like I like to call it the washing machine move, where we're rounding through, and again, really getting that movement into the spine, and then all the way other way. And then I get them to roll up, and then we kind of do a little bit of bouncing and shaking everything out. Another thing I like to use is when you're shaking, sometimes I get you to jump, but I try to say to people, you are your own shock absorber. So when we're jumping, it's like you are your own shock absorber, right? If you don't want to jump, you don't jump, and you keep shaking. And this is the point where I say use your breath. So I'm like, take a big breath in and be like, ha, ha, and get you to release, ha, like through your breath, ha, 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 feel like it's coming from the depth of your lungs, ha, ha. Do a few more you can do with a jump. It's like getting rid of any extra energy. If you want, Michelle, you can stay your tongue as you're doing it. Ha, ha, nice, ha, good, ha. Then I start to take you into a step, so you want to go toe to heel. So what I like to say is you're kissing the earth, all right? Toe to heel. And for some people, it's really hard to isolate the hips. So they'll start off looking a bit like a robot. I'm like, relax. So if you're tired again, can't be bothered, but think about toe to heel. You want to connect each part of the foot, and then think about using your legs. You are, again, shock absorber. And then I keep going. You start to move the hips. You relax the arms. You relax the jaw. And usually here, this is where I might start teaching people a few steps. Once I've kind of allowed them to kind of get into a few steps, I then do things like moving the wrists, and then start to move the arms however they want to move. And as you know, we'll probably get right into it, Michelle. So we just start to play. And I also like to say, like, play with the ether, like around you, play with the space and just move, obviously with the body, moving every part. But again, as I was working through the spine, feel like you're rippling through. You lean side to side and you just keep moving. So I give them the state, keep going with the steps if that feels good. If it doesn't, take a step and tap. If you feel that you're getting stuck, take it back into a shake. Also keep noticing what's happening with your breath, and you're relaxing the jaw, shoulders. And as you keep moving, a lot of the time I tell people, take a big breath in and release it with a big audible sigh. And use your voice to kind of, again, open that channel. So again, big breath in and a big audible sigh. And you start to really get a lot more into the body through such explorative movements. And I get people to close their eyes here. If they are getting a bit too dizzy, just take your gaze to the floor. Forget about anyone else in the room. As soon as you start to jump into your mind, use your breath, shake it out or take a big sigh, release it, shift it, and start to trust in the wisdom of your body and how it wants to move. And I just keep guiding them and guiding them. Maybe I do a few steps that's really primal to inspire them. And then I start to move again freely. And then letting go. Beautiful. That's it. I love it. We could do this for another hour.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Please. Oh, this is so
Beautiful,
delicious.
right? Oh.
Wow.
And yeah, and sometimes there's a step called Flowers of Bloom in dancehall, and I love it. I always feel like that lotus flower, and you kind of clap and you look up and then you let the flower leaves come down. It's a beautiful step. Right?
Oh, beautiful vision and sensation.
Yeah. But your eye gaze is just as important in dance as well. Whether you're closing the eyes or whether you're looking up to the sky when you're doing something expressive, it's yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Sara. That was really, really delicious.
With no music and no drums.
Yeah. With our inner music.
It's all there.
Actually, it was really interesting to see also this, because music, it's for me, it's inspiring the body like in a second. Like, you know, I always, sometimes what I say to bodies, it's like, just let the music receive it through your pores, and the music is gonna move you, you know, because it's vibration, so it's already moving you. But in these spaces where we have no outer music, we can also feel and know that movement is there, because music can be everywhere, you know. It's like I have here like the birds moving, wind sounds,
the trees,
yeah, baby sounds. So everything.
That's your music every day at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful music. All day, all night long. Baby music. Yeah, moving my body. So thank you a lot for sharing this practice. It has been so wonderful to share, to hear from you. How long ago did you took the training? Do you remember?
March 21.
Okay. Yeah.
It was the start of March 2021. Because remember we were still kind of in lockdown, and I just got little Lulu as well.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit part of my journey.
Hello, doggy. Dog sounds also can be music to our voice.
Yeah, March 2021, and actually, if I think, you know, it's what, a year and a half ago, March. Like, no, less, like a year and 4, well, when we started, it's like a year and 4 months ago. But, and when we're reflecting on the shifts, actually, like, I'm reflecting even more now. I'm like, wow, yeah, the shifts have been insane. So, I also wanted to I pulled a card earlier before this. I'm not going to go into it real deeply, but it's a beautiful card that I pulled. A deity of the Hathor, which is all about hidden blessings. It's all about trust.
Beautiful. Wow.
And about our dreams and ambitions, and guided to believe that they are a natural expression of your soul, something that is meant to be, and life will support you in the expression of those dreams and ambitions. There's so much more to this card. I'll post about it, because it's actually a really beautiful card that
share it also on the,
it's quite long, but yeah.
Can you share the image on the IG also?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, beautiful card. Wow, beautiful message. So
I'll share what it means, because actually I was reading it just before, and it, in relation to our chat and everything, and even down to when we were talking about trust in our own authentic creations, and even actually now we're coming into the new moon in Leo, which is all about your authentic expression and creation. I was like, okay.
I surrendered to the message.
Yeah, it's just, you know, magic is all around us when you trust, and things always align when you trust.
Yes. Yes. So talking about that first experience of expansive art now and seeing all this process we've been through, now we are in our about to start for the fourth generation. So we are really, really excited about this. If anyone here resonates with this kind of teachings, with how you can expand in your art, in your ceremonial spaces, even if you haven't facilitated a ceremony before, and even if you don't even want to, you know, because this training is actually a live process in which the intention we have is this, that we have been sharing, to integrate your inner trust, to be able to expand in your gifts, in your talents, to be able to find a contained space so you make these ridiculous movements, these absurd movements, so you can liberate yourself, you can free your voice. So if anyone here resonates, we are really happy to receive you. We start August 15th, this fourth generation. You can still be part of it. So just message us and we can send you all the information. Would you like also to share, Sara, your social media, if you have any course coming?
Yeah, my social media, well, we're on IG, but Sara _ Fakih, which is pronounced Fakih, as it's always really hard to pronounce. But yeah, I've got it like on my website is sarafakih.com. The next retreat that I'm doing is with Yoga Fit, and you can get 5% discount if you use my code YogaFit Sara Fakih. I also teach this dance online every Saturday at 9 a.m. and it's only 45 minutes. And the way that I see it is, it's, you know, I want to set you up for the weekend. Like, just shift the energy. Let's start to trust. And it's a practice that I have just seen, you know, so many women like grow just from moving in this way. I also teach yin on a Monday night as well, which is also online. And it's both those classes I find are perfect for doing online, especially if you're a little bit nervous about doing a bit of kind of like dancehall and free dance, leading into free dance. It's beautiful. So everything's on my website. Everything's also on my Linktree and my IG too. Yeah, and I mean the course that Michelle was talking about, I think, when you work in that way in ceremony, it's so powerful, whether you want to facilitate cacao training or not, to get that knowledge and actually do those ceremonies every week. When you work in ceremony, again, you're working with such pure intention, like things will just kind of unfold in the most beautiful way if you trust.
Thank you. I think that's a beautiful way to close this conversation. To trust in our voice, in ourselves, in our authenticity. So thank you a lot, Sara, for meeting with us today. We are really honored to share with you, to get to know you, to have shared in a year and a half when we were training together. Yeah. And you know, to feel how this friendship is still going on, because even if it was online ceremonies, and actually you and I have never like got
never actually physically met.
I was going to say like touch our bodies like dancer language.
Yes, of course.
But I feel this connection with you, you know, and because this ceremonial process can go really, really deep and can transcend time and space. So thank you for this co-creation, for this manifestation, and we hope to keep maintaining and expanding this friendship throughout time and different kinds of movement.
Yeah. Exactly. It's universal.
Yes.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Carlos.
Yeah. Carlos
Bye,
and
my
Arum.
lovely.
Thank you, Sara. Mwah.
Thank
Have a really,
you.
really nice day. And thank you to our IG community and to our
Yeah.
YouTube community. Please, if you have any comments, any questions, we are here. And we'll keep sharing live conversations.
Yeah.
See you. Mwah.